Hey, brothers, I wanted to reach out to you and share a little bit of the vision of Awaken West Houston with you. Back in April, I was visiting some friends up in Jonesboro, Arkansas, where I had planted and led a church many, many years ago. And my friends there began to tell me about Saturate Jonesboro. It was an initiative that they had pursued to bring the churches in their city together to pray for every household in Jonesboro, Arkansas. It sounded really cool because it matched so much the vision of every man, woman, and child that we talk about so often here in Katy. They told me that they had gotten this vision from Awaken Nashville. And so I began to look into Awaken Nashville just a little bit to see what this was all about. And Awaken Nashville is an effort to bring together the churches of Nashville for a month each year to pray for the men, women, boys, and girls of Nashville, Tennessee, and really even beyond as they've grown that ministry. So I came back, and that very next week I had a meeting with some of the pastors here in Katy, and just kind of threw that out there. Hey guys, I learned my friends in Jonesboro have been doing this. They learned it from churches in Nashville. It seems to so fit with our passion for every man, woman, and child in Katy to have repeated opportunities to see, hear, and respond to the gospel. This idea of praying for every man, woman, and child in our city by name. What do y'all think? And over the next several months, we had a handful of conversations, not many. Of course, summer hit. I had my cancer that I was dealing with. But as we came out of the summer and as we continued to meet, at least a small group of us, there was a real sense of, let's see if God would have us to do this. And so I think all of you were invited to a Christ Together Katy meeting a couple weeks ago on November 18th, hosted it at Redeemer. And many of you came. 15 churches were represented. Some of those churches brought multiple people. But I began to share this vision on behalf of Christ Together Katy. And there was a real sense of oneness around, let's do this. Let's see if we can, by the mercy of God, we enjoy wonderful relationships with one another here in Katy. For my friends in Jonesboro, they had a lot of work to do because they don't enjoy those kinds of pastoral friendships that have been cultivated here for such a long time here in Katy. So at that meeting a couple weeks ago, there was a real oneness around the room of, yes, let's do this. So we're looking to partner with Awaken Nashville to do Awaken West Houston, March 2nd through the 31st. And the vision is this, that we would raise up thousands of believers here in Katy who would, from March 2nd through the 31st, fast as God would lead them and pray for 15, maybe 16 or 17, 15, 16, 17 households by name every day for those 30 days. And so if I was going to participate, I would get a list of 15, 16, 17 households here in Katy. I don't even know them. Maybe I'll know some of them, probably not. But I'll commit to fast and pray for those households by name for the 30 days in March. There are about 95,000 households in the Katy ISD lines. And what that means is that we're going to need to raise up some 6,000 believers who would say, yes, I'll fast and pray for 15 during the month of March. So, wow, 6,000 believers. We're going to trust God. If we get there, wonderful. If we don't get there, and we only pray for 60,000 households, that's okay. But in that room, there were 15 churches, 15 pastors who said, yes, we'll do this. And as I've gotten in touch with them recently, I've said, okay, I know we're not there yet, but you're just thinking about your church. You're thinking about who might participate, who might say, yes, I'll take 15 names. I'll fast. I'll pray for those 30 days. And already with those 15 churches, we have well over 3,000 that we believe could be raised up. Those 15 churches that were there: Church on the Rock, Cornerstone Evangelical Presbyterian, Grace Fellowship. Church on the Rock with Pastor Jorge Cardenas, and Cornerstone Evangelical Presbyterian Church with Carter Sanger, Grace Fellowship with Jim Leggett, Haven Presbyterian Church with Nathan Cotton, Katie's First Baptist with Coleman Philly, Kingsland Baptist Church with Ryan Rush, Powerhouse Church with Robert Burdett, Redeemer Community Church with myself, River of Life Family Church with Falu, the Fellowship with Jerry Edmondson, the Vineyard Church of Katie, Jeff Bynum, Trinity Baptist Church with Josh Guajardo, Victory Christian Church with Greg Ballard, Waypoint Church, Paul Cockrell, Westland Baptist Church with Roy Meadows. So that's 15 churches, and reaching out to them and saying, how many do you think might participate? Adults and even students who are willing to take 15 names and fast and pray for a month. Well over 3,000. In fact, let me check this text right now. Yeah, we think we might be at about 3,500 to 4,000 already. We need more. We would love for you to participate in this with us. Of course, March will be here before we know it, and of course, with the packets that each of the participants will get, they'll get a packet, something like this, and inside the packet there will be something that will look like this, and it'll give them just some brief instructions on what to do. On the back, it won't look like this. In fact, it'll have 15, 16, 17 households that folks will be praying for. So this will be in their packet. Inside the packet also will be this little book called Revival Starts Here by Dave Clayton. It's a wonderful little primer on fasting. And so if you ever wanted the folks in your church to read about 80 pages on fasting, this is a really good primer, and it'll be in every packet, as well as, and we're still trying to work out whether or not we're going to use one that they have used in Nashville or we're going to write our own here in Katy, but something that'll look like this, and it'll be a guide. Okay, I'll pray for 15, but what do I pray for? And so we would give a guide for these 30 days, for these 15 families, pray this. And then also inside the guide would be 15, 16, 17 postcards that each participant, having prayed, fasted and prayed for those 15, 16, 17 households, at the end will write them a postcard. You can't mention your church. You can't invite them to your church. All you can do is say something like, where did I put it? What they've done in the past, to write something like, we've been praying and fasting for you and your family by name for the last 30 days that you would experience the love of Jesus. So that's what would come in the packet. So March will be here before you know it. Therefore, we'll need the packets, as we get into January. So we know this is short notice. We know you've got things planned already for your church, but we would love for you to join us, these 15 churches who have already said yes, and say, yeah, we're in. We'd love to participate in Awaken West Houston. So if you will, let me know. And I'd love to connect with you, maybe tell you a bit more about it, and then be thinking in terms of how the size of your church, how many people do you think would say, yes, I'll participate? We'll need to know that as we begin to order packets. And just so you know, every participant would get a packet. So I would get a packet, my wife would get a packet, my 17-year-old daughter would get a packet. Every person who says, yes, I want 15 names to fast and pray for during the month of March would get a packet. So I hope that's kind of clear. If you want to learn more, I think it's awakennashville.org. It may be awakennashville.com. Take a look at that. Make sure to watch the 2-minute video. It's pretty cool. You can reach out to me. My cell phone number is 713-494-4878. I think you've got my email address, but it is mmaher at redeemercommunity.org. Thanks, brothers. Look forward to hearing from you. Bye-bye.